All right, this is the level 2 fitness center based workout routine. Here's what you're gonna need for today's workout. A mat will be helpful, yoga mat. You wanna get a bench or a place to step up that might be a little bit lower than this. You might use a kettlebell, or you'll definitely want to have access to some dumbbells, a pair of dumbbells. Cable machine, and the rope attachment for the cable machine, and then you'll use an elliptical or a rower. All right, for the exercises, we'll begin with some high knee marching, okay? So just bringing the knee high, and the one thing to think about on this is to fully extend through the down leg. Don't round your back when you lift your knee up. So just 15 seconds of the high knee marching. Next, you'll do some arm circles. You can draw, there's a number of different ways to do this. You can draw big circles, you can draw tight, small circles, you can reverse the circles, but thinking about on the back end of the motion, squeezing your shoulder blades together and bracing your abdominals too so that you're not arching and rounding your back as you rotate the shoulders. Next, you're gonna do just a shoulder hug stretch. So just give yourself a big hug. Let your scapula, your shoulder blades open up on this stretch. Do about half the time with your right arm on top, and then half the time with your left arm on top. A hip bridge hold will be next. I'm just gonna come on down to the ground, lay flat, bend my knees, heels down, and then I'm going to shoot the hips up and hold this position. Really fully extend the hips. You're squeezing the glutes, and you might feel a little bit of a stretch in your quadriceps. Next, you'll stay down here, you've got some arch holds, or they call them Superman sometimes, where you're belly down, and then you're going to squeeze your butt to lift your legs, squeeze your shoulder blades together to lift your arms off the mat, and palms down, reach them up and reach them down. Reach them up off the ground and down your side. And then your hollow holds are the opposite. So you can crunch up, reaching your arms, palms up, down by your side. You can start with your knees bent, and then as you extend them straight out, it gets harder and harder. Try to have your heels hovering about 8 inches off the ground, pointing the toes, flexing the legs. Really great core strengthening exercise, basic exercise. Woo! Get your heart rate up too a little bit. All right, so then strength circuit is next. You're gonna start with step-ups. And just take a note for these strength exercises that on the list it says 6 step-ups each side. And also for the cable and band chops, also for the dumbbell or kettlebell deadlifts, those are gonna be about 6 repetitions, and the other exercises will be 8 repetitions. So just know that I'm looking for you to do a little bit less on those 3 exercises. So starting with the step-ups, and now this is pretty high. You might start with a much lower step than this, and actually just do a step that's appropriate to you. And really, it's not necessary to do a step that's much where you're bending your knee much higher than your hips, the crease of your hips. Okay, so this is just about right for me. And technique-wise, what I want to be thinking about when I step on the step, I want to have my heel down. And I want to be here right before I'm about to step up. I'm going to be in this position. Notice that my shoulders are over my knees, which are over my heels. My hips are back. This is going to get me better leverage. I'm going to be able to use the back of my legs more. And as opposed to here, I'm going to be straining my knee. It's not going to be as strong there. And the other thing to consider is I don't want my knee caving in like that. I want my knee to just track in line with my feet. Okay, so I'll step up, come to full extension on the top of the bench, and I can alternate legs each step, okay? If I wanted to, I can add resistance. I can hold a pair of dumbbells by my side for the step-ups. Okay, it's gonna be cable, band, or dumbbell rows. Okay, I'm gonna show you the dumbbell rows first because I think this is the most effective one. Okay, so here you have to be in a hip hinge position. So I can put my feet together for this one, and then I'm going to hinge at the hips. So notice the shoulders came forward, the hips came back. I'm not falling into a rounded back position. I want to stay arched even. I'm going to be arched here. Then from there, you're going to hold that position as you pull the dumbbell right along the side of your legs. Think about squeezing your shoulder blades together as you lift the weights up. Now alternatively, I can do this if I don't have a dumbbell. I can do this with a cable machine. Bring it down to about hip width. I can do it with this rope attachment, or really any attachment. I'll do a 2-arm version first. Sit the hips back a little bit and then pull the weight in to your side. The motion of your arms is very similar. I can use a band and do the same exact exercise here. They all work. Okay, going on next, we've got incline dumbbell bench press or elevated push-ups. And I would say you start with the elevated push-ups. So the key with the push-up is that you can keep your body mechanics. And what I mean by that is when you're doing your push-up, your shoulders and your hips are keeping a relationship. They're rising and falling at the same rate. So I wouldn't want to do a push-up where my shoulders come down, my hips lag, nor would I want to do one where my hips sag. Okay, and nor do I want to do one where I can go down well, but when I go up, I stick the hips up first and then press through. They have to be working together. And you can see the angle of my arm here. See where I'm not tucked, but I'm certainly not flaring my elbows. And I certainly don't want I don't want to shrug my shoulders like this. I want to be flexing my arms down so I'm active with my lat muscles here. Okay, so it can be much higher than this. Well, I'll start going from here just to demo a couple. And when you're on an incline like this, the other part is I need to go all the way down and all the way up. So I just want to find a height where I can go all the way down and all the way up. I'll work my way back. I'll work my way down to the ground, and then I'll go from there. And now, if you're a smaller person, you're going to be better at push-ups than you are at dumbbell bench presses or any kind of bench presses. If you're a bigger person, the bench press is probably going to be a better option for you in some cases. So I'm doing it on an incline here. So I'll set my bench up accordingly, and I'll grab my dumbbells. And I can start with the weights. I can place them right here. And then when I go in to get them in position, I put them up into my hip crease, and then I just rock back. And now I'm gonna have one side of the dumbbells touching my chest at the bottom. I'm squeezing my shoulder blades together. My legs are firmly placed on the ground, heels down, and I'm pushing into the ground, flexing my legs. Then from there, the dumbbells are gonna come up in a straight line. I end up so that my arms are completely vertical here and the weights are over my shoulders. But then they come angled down to touch my chest. And that's the ideal motion for your dumbbell bench presses. All right, next you're gonna go for some kettlebell or dumbbell deadlifts. Preferably a kettlebell for this. Okay, and what you'll do is, now this is another hip hinging motion. So first, walk directly underneath your weight. You want it to be under your center of gravity. Then from there, I'm gonna be doing a hip hinge, sticking the hips back, shoulders forward, and so we squatted the other day and we went to about here, and then we started to bend the knees. Well, let's bend a little further forward so my angle of my torso is even more, and I'll have to bend my knees a little bit too. So this is the ideal position. Now I want to think about pushing my arms straight down so that I'm flexing my upper back and also my chest, really bracing the abdominals. So I don't want to lift like this. I don't want to load my spine when it's rounded. If anything, I want to think about arching my back a little bit. Eyes looking straight ahead, and then I just stand up with the weight. Set it down, and then stand it up. So I don't need to, my arms are just hanging straight down. Notice the hips going back, and the shoulders coming forward. Keeping the heels down. I can also do this with a dumbbell like so. Place it like this. I can grab it like this, and I can do the same exercise. To start, if you're having trouble keeping your back from rounding, you can prop your weight up. So I can put it on something that's about this height, and just go to the point where I can keep my neutral spine, not rounding. Okay, next I'm going to slide over to the cable machine and I'm going to do some chops. Rope attachment, bring it up to the highest height that you can, find the appropriate weight, and then with this exercise I'm going to basically do a diagonal motion, like wood chopping motion. But keep your hips square, keep your shoulders square, reach across your body, and then pull it down with straight elbows across your body. So see how it's coming away from my body when I'm in my middle, and then it comes over my shoulder here, out in front of my body, and then back down to the shoulder. That's the exercise here. You can take a wide base for balance, and then just make it a nice flowing motion here. It works your shoulders, but it also works your abdominals. When I'm up here, I have to drive with my abdominals. And I'll do both sides on that exercise. Again, alternatively, I can use the cable machine and do pretty much the same, I can use the band, and I can do the same motion with the band. Last resistance training exercise for today is calf raises. And I want you to think of these as like a heel to toe. So I'm going to lift my heels, I'm going to lift my toes, and then I'm going to lift my heels. I can hold on to something for balance if I need to. Toes and then heels. Toes and heels. It's great if I have an elevated surface. I can actually do this on a dumbbell, where I place the ball of my foot on the dumbbell, and then I lift from there, and then I go all the way back down. So I'm doing like an elevated calf raise. Okay, we're on to the cardio. You can do either the elliptical or the rower. I'm going to show you the elliptical first. And again, we're doing intervals. Fast pace and then slow pace. I'll do a 30 seconds at a faster pace, and then I'll do a slower pace. This is pretty simple. Just get yourself in position, and then you just start pedaling. It's a low impact exercise. You can get a little bit of arms and legs going. And this is my quicker pace here. You can get in the groove with it, and then go for a slower pace. Keep it going. On this one, you can add resistance. For a lot of these machines, you can add resistance or add incline, which is an option for you. Another way to do your intervals to keep the same pace, but change the level of resistance. Okay, and then if you have access to a rower, this is another tremendous option. Maybe even better in my mind, really. It's a little bit more functional, I believe. So, or you can switch them up. You can do both. Both is switch them every week. All right, rowing machine. We'll talk about the mechanics on the rower first. So get yourself strapped in. And then with the rower, you want to think of it as, first of all, you want to begin the motion with a lot of ankle, knee, and hip bend as much as you can. Extending the elbows, but minimizing the rounding of the back here. Try to stay upright with your torso. Now from here, I'm going to extend the knees, bend the hips slightly, and then pull to the belly button, fully extending through the legs, driving through the heel at the back end of the motion. On the way back, I release the hands, hips back into place, and then bend the knees and ankles. And I repeat. Try to make it a really flowing motion, but a strong motion. And the same thing with the rower. I can do a 30-second faster pace and then go to a 30-second slower pace. Okay, after this, you're just gonna go through all your warm-up movements one more time, and that will conclude your workout.